Yeah, well, guys, see, the other day, all right, okay, so um, it is something like when you say echo so and so, a line will be displaying to you, isn't it? Okay, that line, okay, if you say greater than the file name, whatever output you would be getting, that would be moving to this etc. So it is something like opening the Aura inst.loc, adding a line. But without using a VA editor, simply if you want, so if it is a one line without opening the VA editor, simply you can add like that. Okay, so all I want is I wanted to open a file orinst.loc file under etc, and I want to add a line called inventory underscore loc equal to u01 or inventory. That's all. That's the main. Well, so you can see my desktop, isn't it? I mean, the screen. I have found one issue at the time of okay. So it got struck basically. Okay, we have initiated, isn't it? We initiated and left it like that, and we thought of checking it later. So after 1 hour or 1.5 hour, I have seen the progress. I couldn't see any progress. It's just 0%, and it is not at all moving. Okay, so I realized that my RAM I have specified is a 4 GB RAM. Okay, so I've just cancelled the installation. Okay, I have increased it 4 GB to 8 GB RAM, and then again I have initiated, and yes, it took a little while, but it went well. So with 8 GB RAM. Okay, so just for installation only 8 GB is required for to make use of e-business suite. You can use 4 GB should be fine. Okay, see installation again in VMware it will take a little. I mean it will take a little time. Okay, just hang on. Let me close my door. You must be hearing some noise. Yep, I'm back. So it will take little time, okay, than the normal system installation. Why? Because at the time of I configure VMware, I'll be creating one virtual VM file. Okay. So basically, at the time of installation, it would be asking how big size you want or something like that. So there are two options. If you give 200 GB, okay, so in one option, first option, it will go up to 200 GB. Okay, and initially whatever it is required for installation, if it requires 20 GB, 10 GB for example. So out of 250 GB, your VM file would be 10 GB only. Okay, so the days, I mean, goes on, the days you, I mean, further, the way you use, the file will be growing, and the file will grow up to 250 GB and it will start. Okay, so it may give an error saying that the file, I mean, space not found or something like that. Okay, the another way of setup is, okay, if you set up 200 and if you provide 250 GB, so it will create a file with 250 GB. Though you use the 250 GB or not inside in your VMware, the file size would be 250 GB. It will occupy your operating system space initially. So I mean, in 250 GB, definitely we won't be using 250 GB. We would be using 150 GB or something, and another 100 GB of our operating system file will be wasted. So that is the reason everybody whoever using the VMware in personal PCs and all. Okay, so we'll be going to the first option. We will give maximum is 250 GB, and we will not allow VM to create the file with the 250 GB. So depends on the usage only the file will be growing. So here at the time of installation, in this scenario, at the time of installation, it it will start installation, okay, and it requires some space. So VMware has to increase the some space. It will I mean move the file system, again it has to increase some space. So VMware has to increase and it should install it. It has to increase and it should install something like that, for increasing the space and all VMware, it will take a little while. Okay, so that is the reason in VMware it will take more time than the regular desktop installations. Okay, anyway, this is not applicable for your real time and all. Okay, this is only for our internal purpose and all. Okay, just for your information, I'm saying you, if you really wanted to configure your laptop with this, this information will be useful to you. All right. So that's the only problem I have seen. Apart from that, everything went well, and after three and a half hours or so, I could see this window. So it is a successful. Okay, so if you see database availability, green color tick mark, okay, means database installed successfully and the connectivity established successfully. Okay, the environment files, yes, I mean it is the one of the file which will be creating along with the installation. Okay, so which will be useful to maintain your e-business suite. Okay, then the next we are going to discuss about environment files only. Okay, next HTTP. HTTP is your web server. Okay, web server installed well. Okay, and the login page internally it will be testing the login page, and yes, that is also the test is over, and it is able to, all the configuration is perfect. The configuration upload, DBC file, database connectivity file, help pages, JSP pages, WebLogic domain validation, all are correct. Okay, these are the validation. This is the validation it will be doing after installation. Okay, so sometimes you may get the explanatory mark. Okay, so in that case, you need to identify. Okay, you need to go through the log file. You can see here. I have already showed you. Okay, so if you see here, second file or first file. Okay, so FS1 is the one file, FS2 there will be one file, database log file. Okay, so that handle you will be seeing here. So you have to go to, okay, if it is application related issue, you have to go to login database log file. If it is a database, sorry, if it is application issue, you need to log into this application log file, and the database issue database log file. You will be seeing what exactly the issue you will be fixing it. Once you decided that yes, this issue got resolved, then you need to come back to this particular window again, and you need to say retry. Okay, so it will again do this validation, and if that fix is correct, everything, if the fix is correct and the other things are correct, then it will give you the green color tick mark again. Otherwise it will throw an error again. Okay, so if you find the cross mark, the red color cross mark, your installation is failed. You have to do something. Okay, again you will be going to the log file, and you will be seeing what exactly the issue and all. Okay, most of the cases, the mainly two scenarios, okay, the issue, the installation will be failed. Okay, the first one is the database prerequisites. Okay, so database prerequisites, the parameters and all you have to set, isn't it, as part of 11G installation. Those parameters and all need to be set properly. Okay, that's the one thing. Okay, if you are not configuring the database prerequisites and all, screwed. The database won't be creating, and on top of that, only file system only will be creating. Okay, the application file system will be copying to the appropriate location, but at the time of creating the connectivity between application and database, again it will be failing because database will be down, right? So it will be failing, and everything you will see the cross marks here. That's the one thing. Okay, the second thing, operating system level, the required RPMs are mandatory. Okay, so what all RPMs are there, as mentioned in the document, I have shared you one complete documentation. Okay, one complete document for the installation. In that document, for each and every operating system, there would be the list of RPMs. Those list of RPMs need to be installed. It is mandatory. Okay, by any chance, if you got, if you are working with the OEL, Oracle Enterprise Linux, okay, you can configure with the YUM. Okay, YUM configuration, it would be downloading all the required RPMs and all for application for database, and it will make your operating system ready. Okay, but if that is the not the case, and if you are installing your operating system in a Red Hat Enterprise Linux or Sun Solaris or HPUX or IBM AX, something like that, you have to install manually. Okay, so here you in the sense operating system people. Okay, by any chance if they miss to install this RPM again, and we would be doing some troubleshooting and all, by us we will be by seeing the error itself. And if you go to the Oracle support, by seeing the error itself, Oracle will suggest you which RPM missed, and you need to check it out. You can even check it out in the operating system RPM minus QA. Okay, you can find out whether that RPM has been installed or not. Sometimes RPM will be installed, but maybe the older version. Okay, so once you decide that okay, this RPM is the culprit, simply you would be going to the operating system team, and you would be sharing the information to them, and they will be verifying, they will be installing that RPM, and they will be coming. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, another issues in the space issues, permissions issues, and all. This by seeing the error itself, you can easily identify. And since you are executing this from the root user, okay, there won't be, you won't be seeing any permission issue. Okay, so these are the issues you would be seeing basically. Okay, so. Um, yeah, mostly, I mean, till now I have seen the issues with RPMs only, prerequisite RPM. So Restall anyway would be creating the users normally, and would be providing the proof. Since we are attaching both the users to same group, you won't be seeing permission issue, and definitely you would be verifying the space and all. Okay, so before itself you would be estimating what is the what size is required to install e-business suite, and that size would be, I mean, you will be keeping that size, so there won't be any space issue. The only issue would be seeing is RPMs. Okay, so that RPMs part as part of prerequisites, you have to be very careful. Okay, apart from that, everything will be fine. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so next, we can go to the next session, next screen. Yep, it would be like this. Okay, so it will give the what and all it has installed and all it will be showing, and you can, if you can click connect to Oracle e-business suite release 12.2, it would be I mean initiating the your browser. Browser has no reference. Okay, fine, not a problem. We can open the browser and we can use it. Okay, if you see here, okay, see the tooltip, if you see http colon mcode10 dot oracle.com colon 8000. So as I said earlier, the URL will be created, the URL, the format of http colon your host name dot domain name colon your port number. Okay, so let's finish this and we can open the browser separately. We can check it out. Okay, so yeah, just for your information, I take this print screen as well. I'll save it and I'll share it to you. So usually they will be asking you, okay, so what's the log file? Okay, so application installation log file where you would be seeing, where, I mean, database log file where you would be seeing, okay, how many log files you would be seeing in the application side. See, this is the another difference between R12.1 installation and 12.2 installation. In R12.1 installation, you would be seeing only one application log file which contains everything. Okay, in R12.2, since they splitted the file system, you'll be seeing two log files. One under FS1 is file system 1 and another one is file system 2. Okay, so like this. Okay, so what FS1 contains and what kind of file system, I mean, this FS2 contains, and all in that at the time of file system architecture we would be discussing. Okay, I'll share you this file separately. All right, so fine. Okay, we are done with the installation. Okay, so now we would be launching a browser. So here I am using Firefox. So usually 99.999% the customer side end users, everyone will be using IE, Internet Explorer. Okay, so here since I'm using it from the VM box itself, for my comfort, I'm using this one. Okay, so nobody will be accessing from Linux machines, and that people will be accessing from the application. I mean, from the desktop, means Windows machine only. Okay, and now yeah. So as I said, host name would be M4010. Domain name is oracle.com. Web port 8000. So URL will be http m4010.oracle.com 8000. Okay, so this will be the URL basically. Okay, so it will be redirecting. Okay, it's not exact URL. It will once you give this URL, it will be redirecting to a page called apps local login.jsp. Okay, it would be moving to this particular file. Okay, so the complete URL will be like http 8000 and that file OA underscore HTML. That file would be under OA underscore HTML folder in the application side. Okay. Okay, so when you give this, it would be redirecting the URL to this particular thing and it will be given to you. Okay, so let me copy this. See, OA underscore apps login. Okay, so like this, it will be giving to you. This is the front page for you. Okay, the welcome page. You can say welcome page or front page. Okay, so username and password and accessibility is screen reader and this and all definitely you won't be using. Okay, so not even customers will be using. So the none accessibility always should be none, and here you will be providing the username, you will be providing the password. Okay, so here default username. Password is sysadmin only. Okay, so you can change sysadmin user password with the FNDC policy. Just for your information, I'm writing here, but the usage of FNDC utility you would be seeing as part of AD utilities. Okay, so let's give sysadmin user and the password is sysadmin. Okay, so we click on that page. Right, so this is the login page you will be seeing. Okay, so here application developer, application diagnostics, auditing manager, CRM, and system administration, system administrator. These are all your responsibilities basically. Okay, against to sysadmin user, these are the responsibilities are there. Okay, so if you if we create some Mohit user and if we give only application developer responsibility to him as part of user configuration. So when Mohit logs into the machine, you won't be seeing anything except application developer. Okay, so since it is the main user, okay, you can call as admin user for front end, okay, application admin user you can say, but Just for your information I'm saying, but the terminology would be sysadmin user. Okay, so since you are logging through sysadmin user, okay, you are able to see all these responsibilities. Again, the sysadmin user is having a capability of adding a more responsibility to himself and disabling the responsibilities. Okay, again here you need to understand one point, like you need to note a point, like once you assign any of the user, you can't you can't delete from your list. You would be setting the candidate only. Okay, for some auditing purpose and all, they have not, they are not allowing to delete these responsibilities. And even the user also say, like you have in database side, drop username cascade below, everything will be dropped or something. Okay, something like that. The Oracle doesn't have that kind of facility. Okay, once you create a user, the user will be like that. Okay, so that user, if you are, if you don't want that user, if you want to restrict the user, okay, you have to disable the user. Disable in the sense, you will be setting that there would be some start date and end date. You would be setting his end date to yesterday date, so that he can't log in. Okay, anyway, that part you will be seeing as part of this admin. Okay, with practice you will be seeing. Okay, just for your information I'm saying you now. Okay, so these are all responsibilities I say. And when you click on system administration, again see, these are called menu. Okay, this is one of the menu item. Just naming convention purpose, you just take this word, but what exactly the menu, how to create the menu, again it's a part of sysadmin only. Okay, so this is called responsibility. Under any of the responsibility you would be seeing menus. Okay, so Oracle application manager, this is one of the menu, and concurrent is one of the menu, profile is one of the menu. Okay, application is one of the menu, and install is one of the menu. So when you click on again concurrent, what and all you are seeing, these are sub menus, menu items you can say, sub menu you can say. So again, when you click here, so these are the sub item, sub menus, menu items. For this is the menu manager, but for concurrent, this manager would be menu item, something like that. It would Okay, so every I mean, in a single word, every user will have some of the responsibilities. Every responsibilities have the menus, and menu will have menu items. That's all. Sometimes menu item also be menu, and that also contains some of the menu items. Okay, so when you click on any of the, let's see, Oracle application. Let's go to system administrator. And if you take OAM application manager, it is something like OEM in your Windows. By default, what when you install database, you will be seeing OEM, right? By default, that's the one. It is something like that, but this contains more features. Okay, so there will be one dashboard. Okay, so click that. See, this is what you would be seeing. Okay, so your system name, your platform, operating system, your host status is correctly, you would be seeing. Once the installation, you would be seeing this. The admin means that all the utilities have been installed well or not, database installed well or not, configured well or not, and the concurrent processing, okay, is the up. So you would be seeing, if the services are up and running, you would be seeing like this, and the service is down, you would be seeing cross mark. Okay, so this is, and if you click on sitemap, so you'll be seeing the major. Okay. This is the administration related tab and the monitoring. And again, there is after this class, there is another class for you only for Oracle Application Manager, and what and all activities you can perform through Oracle OEM and all we'll be discussing there. Okay, so like this it would be basically. Okay, so the responsibility, and some of these menu items will be redirecting to self-service, and some of the menu items will be redirecting to your form page. Okay, so this is what. So once you're able to navigate these and then you can assume that your installation is successful. Okay, and further post installation, as part of post installation session, what and all we have discussed, we can go ahead, we can go through it. Okay, so in the operating system side, okay, so how it would be, and all I'll just give you a small So as I said, two users. Okay, so one is application user and another one is a database user. So log into database user. Okay, and here log into application user. Okay, so once you log in, this is the base location for you. Okay, so u01 slash so here you would be seeing a folder called the prod. It's nothing but SID. With the SID name, you would be seeing one. And if you log into that, okay, so level 2 DIAC and data is in you will be seeing. The Oracle home you will be seeing here. Level 2. This is what your database is. Okay, so see, these are your including listener. You will be seeing. The listener will be prod. Okay, you will be seeing a listener with the SID name. Okay, so you can see your database is up and running. Okay, and these are files. Okay, sorry, your files. Okay, so some of them you might have already seen as part of database installation, and something like this prod underscore this file you won't be seeing. Okay, and apps util is another folder which is important folder you would be seeing, and inside that also something would be different. Like if you see network, if you go to admin, normally in this location you would be seeing the entire network means in it. I mean, sorry, what do you call listener.vora and listener and DNS name. But here you would be seeing another folder with context name. Okay, so context name is nothing but your SI underscore post name. So if you go there, then only you will be seeing. That's a slight difference will be there in e-business suite. Okay, so till this location it is fine. Okay, network admin, Oracle home network admin, you know that, But here once after coming here, you would be seeing a folder with the context name. Okay, so right here, what is context name? Context name is nothing but SID underscore post. Okay, so SID is in our case port, sorry, prod, and post name is I coded 10. So your SID would be prod underscore encoded 10. You will see the prod underscore encoded 10. Alright. Okay, so this kind of variation you would be seeing. Okay, in the application side, then you see prod. So FS1, FS2, FSNE, somewhere the two file systems you would be seeing. Okay, so if you go to FS1. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to give the detailed description about all these parts under. So I'm just giving the first initial impression of the file system. Okay, so again we will be discussing about these and all in the file system architecture. Okay, so e-business apps, so if you say e-business apps, so if you see APPL common and 10.12, so APPL contains all your products under the other configuration files and all you will be seeing here. Like this. Okay, so this is the initial impression basically, okay, of your e-business suite login page and the file system. Okay, so we'll see further. So is it clear? So whatever we said, and as part of a post installation, that and all we are not going to do here. Database sizing and the log files location changing and mount points changing, the mount point setting up the init.vara file. This and all we are not going to do here. We have all. I mean, that's just for your information purpose and for your real-time purpose. I have shared that information to you. Okay, if you really wanted, yes, you can do that practice. Okay, so initially you will need that for a loose. This this is what your initial e-business database parameter file. Okay, so accordingly, whatever depends on your requirement, you can change it. Okay, and if it is, if you're able to do alter system, otherwise you need to grab some of the parameters. You need to bring down your above the database. All right, so that's what. Okay, so is there any doubt till now? All right. So I would be discussing with Balvinder, who is the point of contact for the lab and all. Okay, so he said he's setting up the server for you guys. You know, three servers would be going to setting up and share it to you, and I'll check them. He said he will be doing in the weekend, so I'll check with him and I'll make sure that you're getting the server for your practice. All right, fine. So we come to the next topic. Okay, that's what installation, man. Okay, so in that installation, you know, whenever I'm in any weekend or sometime, you know, I will also take you to different type of like multi-node installation. Probably I need to set up one more system. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, so in our personal desktop and all. Setting up this kind of config multiple machines 8 GB plus 8 GB this and a bit difficult, but I'll see if is there any possibility. If it is possible, definitely I will be showing to you the multi-node instead one of the at least database in one node and application one node kind of configuration I can show it to you. So I'll see the possibility and get back to you on that. All right. So now the next topic is environment files control scripts mainly. Okay, so the what is environment file? What is what are the different environment files available? What are the different environment variables available for the application side, database side? So what are the variables we would be using regularly? Okay, so that and all we'll be discussing about it with environment files. Okay, so control script is nothing but you know you'll be seeing the controlling your application. I mean, and complete e-business suite like how do you bring up your database, how do you bring down your database, how do you bring up your application, how do you bring down your application. Okay, what is the sequence you need to follow. Okay, so if in case if you want to bounce or bring up or bring down the independent individual component. How do we need to do that? Where these files will be exist? Okay, so it is individual component in the sense sometimes you may need to bring down or bring up means you may need to bounce the only Apache server is nothing but WebLogic server. Okay, you may need to bounce only concurrent server. You may need to bounce only listener. Okay, so in that case, you know, we should know the individual script names also. Okay, so there would be one consolidated script. Okay, which when you execute that consolidated script automatically, it will be in a sequence. It will be bringing up the Apache server, farm server, report server, concurrent server, listener, the related components, and all the consolidated file will be taken care. Okay, every time you won't be using individual script unless it is very very much required. Okay, so usually we would be using one consolidated script called startall.sh, ad startall.sh. I'll be showing you now. Okay, that file will be executing and automatically the application will be starting, and the another consolidated script is there to bring down the application. Would be using that script to bring down the application. And for database side, there are two ways. One is the regular way, like the startup shutdown, immediate about or whatever. Okay, so there is another way. Oracle is also providing some of the scripts to bring up the database and bring down the database, and to bring up the listener and bring down the listener. Oracle recommended scripts also there. Okay, so depends on your comfortable. You would be choosing the path. Okay. And let's move on. Right. So objectives. So objectives. So here we will be discussing about describing the Oracle e-business suite main environment file and its key parameter, identifying the other important environment files, start and stop the server process, explain how the languages are supplied by Oracle e-business suite. Okay. So these are the list of environment files you would be seeing with the installation. Okay. So here EBS is, in this example, you need to assume that EBS is your SID name, apps is your machine name. Okay. So here if you see EBS apps.env, okay, that's EMD and all, it's for Windows machine, you don't need to worry. Okay. So .env file, it's a base file. Okay. So context name .env. Okay, so run that. Context name.env file. Okay, it contains and it contains 11G release to database. It's in database related file. So this file contain all the 11G related database Oracle forms. So you mean your RDBMS Oracle form related configuration. Environment information you would be seeing in this env file. So you basically, if you install a standalone database, you would be keeping manually at the time of installation itself. You would be keeping manually, isn't it? Export Oracle underscore SID equal to so and so, Oracle underscore path equal, base equal to so and so, home equal to so and so, and the path equal to system path colon Oracle home pin, something like that. You would be writing separately. In the same time, if you are maintaining multiple databases in the same Oracle home, you'd be writing some env files, okay, and product.env, test.env, dev.env, and before going to use whatever environment you would be sourcing, that environment you will be going ahead. Okay, there, in the standalone database, you will be seeing 3 or 4 environment variables. That is the reason you will be keeping either in bash rc or bash profile or dart profile, okay, or your own environment file. Okay, so like that you would be managing. But here in e-business suite, there are so many environment variables are there, hundreds of environment variables are there due to various reasons. Hundreds of environment variables they have introduced, but the maintaining those environment variables is very difficult by manually. Okay, so that is the reason Oracle himself providing the env file. He is consolidating required environment variables and all, and he himself putting all these environment variables in that particular environment file, and all he is asking us to do is source that environment file depends on your requirement. Okay, like that, application is having his own environment file, and the database is having his own environment file. Okay, so you would be once you log into your environment, in your database user, you would be sourcing the database environment file and performing your task. Okay, and the application side also, when you log into the application user, you would be sourcing the application environment file and you would be performing your activity. Okay, to make our life simple, we can keep the sourcing the environment file concept, you can keep it in the bash RC. So only file related information you will be keeping in the bash RC, not any of the variable. Okay, everything need to be taken care by Oracle. Okay, again, if you want to introduce a new environment file, so new environment variable, you should not try to keep that information in the env file. Okay, so there are some limitations and do's and don'ts and all I will explain you now. All right, that's a brief about your environment file basically. Okay, so you see context.env, okay, 11G Oracle form, it's a database site. Okay, context, you will see the same with the same name you will be seeing in 1012, the application site, 1012 Oracle form, you will be seeing another context name.env, one of the file same with the same name. You would be seeing in the AppleTop also. Okay, so custom context name.env, okay, in the AppleTop admin location you would be seeing. Okay, so apps context name.env, same thing, apple underscore top. Okay, see here why these many environment files are there, and you may get a doubt like application. Okay, database side only one environment file you have seen. So you would be simply sourcing that environment file and you would make use of the environment. But in the application side, if you see context name.env is under 1012 Oracle home, and you will be seeing the same file and WebLogic Oracle home. Okay, next under AppleTop, you would be seeing the same thing, and another context file is there in the context custom underscore custom context name.env under the different locations, something like that. There are so many environment files Oracle has introduced to the application side, and how do you make use of them? Which one you need to source it? Okay, you may get that out. So here, to avoid that confusion itself, Oracle has come up with a different another environment file called which we also call as a consolidated environment file. Okay, that is apps context name.env file. Okay, so once you log into your application, you don't need to think about other environment files at all. Okay, you don't need to think which environment file need to be sourced and all. Okay, so once you log into the Oracle Home, if you source a consolidated environment file, okay, that would be taking care of other files. Okay, so if once you log in as a practice, you would be sourcing apps context.env. So in this our application user bash rc, you would be keeping apps context name.env file that will source the other environment file. Okay, so if you open the file, these and all you can open it by via editor. Okay, so if you see this apps context.env, you won't be seeing any of the variable here. Okay, basically environment file contain environment variable, right? But here in this case, this apps context.env doesn't contain any of the environment variable. Okay, so once you would be seeing the reference of other means the other environment files information you would be seeing in this file. So when you source this, this will be sourcing the environment files which has mentioned in this particular file. Okay, so in the simple terms, the application environment file is apps context.env. The information about other variables, other files are there. You can, for your information purpose, you can see. I mean, you can go through it. But the one which you are going to use is apps context.env. Okay, so how do you source then? The multiple ways, you can source dot space the file name you can give, or source. This is a Linux command basically. Source file name, if you give, it will be sourcing, or dot space dot slash the environment file, if you give, it will be sourcing. Okay, so context name.env, product directories and subdirectories. Okay, the path of product directories, other environment information. Okay, so it's talking about the Appletop context name environment. Okay, Appletop environment file it is. Okay, so that Appletop environment file contains all the list of products, their paths, and that their base path, okay, their variable related variables and the other environment related to that particular application. Okay, so that information you would be seeing there. Okay, so okay, in this contains, the run base is one of the variable, okay, which stores the base location of the current file system. Patch base, there is another variable. File underscore edition is another variable. Ne underscore base is another variable. So if FENV is another environment. So this contains the context name. Okay. So platform, what are the platform you're using? These are all variables. Okay. So you can see this variable information. Once you source that, when you say echo something like, in your database, if you say echo Oracle Home, how do you see the Oracle path? Echo Oracle SID, how do you see the Oracle database name? Something like that. In the application side, once you source the apps context name.env, okay, so when you say echo platform, you'll be seeing the platform. Echo apple underscore top, you'll be seeing the apple top. Echo apple underscore top underscore ne, you will be seeing the the top level directory under which the non-edition code installed. Admin scripts location, so you control scripts like bringing up the services to bring down the services and all, that and all you would be seeing admin underscore script home. Okay, so FND NAM, the name of the schema which the system administration responsibility connected. Okay, sound issue for everyone. Tej and Ashik, do you also got? All right, okay, fine. So GWYUID, the username and password that gives the access to the initial sign-on purpose. Okay, FND underscore top, AOL top location, AU underscore top, application utilities directory. Okay, prod underscore top means AR underscore top, AP underscore top, FND underscore top, AU underscore top. Your product, every product will have the own ID as we discussed earlier. That ID underscore top boleto, it will be taking you to the product location. Okay. APPL DCP, APPL CPNAM, okay, APPL CSF, APPL log, APPL log. So APPL CSF, APPL log, APPL log, these three are the combination of your concurrent manager log files and output files. Okay, APPL DCP, okay, the specify whether the parallel concurrent processing is enabled or not. Okay, so something like, something people may ask you, in interviews, people may ask you, how do you know whether your PCP enabled or not? Okay, so by using by echoing the APPL DCP environment variable. Sorry. Okay, so we'll be asking what is your what is your concurrent manager? How do you find the concurrent manager log file? How do you find the concurrent manager output file? Okay, so when you say echo, the APPL CSF APPL log, you'll be seeing the concurrent manager log. APPL CSF APPL out, you'll be seeing the concurrent manager output file. Okay, so something like that. I'll show you here. So now. Okay, so first I'll source the environment and then oops, not this one. Oops. Okay, so here let me log into Oracle user. Okay, so is the display is okay for you guys, or do you want me to increase the font? Are you able to see this, or should I increase the font? All right, okay, fine. All
That's
right.
fine. It's fine.
So the SID name, okay, there will be one folder with SID name. Okay, so you go there. All right. This is the location. So this is what. Okay. So in this location, this is your environment. Your SID, okay, prod is your SID, mcode 01 is your machine name. Okay, so sorry, mcode 10 is your machine name. So this is how you would be seeing this. Okay, so this is the location, as I said, PWD as well. Okay, so here you would be sourcing this particular file. Okay, so let's say when you say echo info, you can't see anything. You can't see anything.
That is which environment file? That a prod this one
Yep.
issued environment file. We are
This is what
sourcing which
your, yeah,
environment
this is
file?
what your database environment file. Somehow it is, your voice is
Oh,
breaking.
that is a DB environment.
Yeah,
That is a
your,
DB environment file.
correct. The database environment it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
So let's say source this. This is one way. Okay. So another way is that this also you can execute it like this. These are three ways. Okay. So either one way is good enough basically. The source command won't be applicable for other Unix environments. Okay, it's only for Linux environment. Okay, so once it is done, if you see echo underscore SID, yes, yes. Okay, so usually what I'll be doing is, I'll take this path. Okay, see, this is applicable to only this particular environment only, right? This is applicable to only this particular. Let's say, okay, now I have sourced article underscore SID, article underscore. Yeah, I'll tell you. Maybe you are asking about the concurrent manager log and concurrent manager out, right? Yes, I'll tell you. Once we move to the application, I'll show you the difference. Okay. All right. So article underscore path. No, article underscore go. Article underscore go. You're seeing these things, right? But once you exit, login. Then you have source. Okay, so every day maybe 10 times, 15 times you would be logging into the database user or application user as a database administrator. Okay, so this is a repeated task, right? Again, you have to go to prod, you have to go to 11.2 again, source. Okay, this is a repetitive task, right? So what I would be doing is, I'll open Bash RC. So let's I'll make a note of this and I'll keep this info. I'll keep this. Okay, so sorry, that's it. Okay, the next time when I exit, that's it automatically. So every time I don't need to, I don't need to source my environment file. Yeah. Okay. So this will be, the same thing would be for every environment in real time. Okay, nobody will be doing such a things repeatedly. Okay, so two times if you do it, definitely you would get bored and you will do some other alternate. So this is what people will be doing in the real time. Okay, first case, if we are having a multiple Oracle homes in that particular machine, in that particular user, the worst case, 0.1% okay, so nobody will be installing nobody will be taking a daring step to install everything in one particular machine, because this itself is a huge a huge file system it contains, huge configuration it contains, and definitely people won't be doing mess up. Okay, so in that case, you would be creating another environment variable, another environment file, and you will be sourcing that, and you would be saying prod 1, prod 2, test 1, test 2, test 3, and you would be giving test 1 as a parameter, that kind of shell programming that you have to do. Okay, usually 99% people will be using this method only. Okay, once they log into that particular user, automatically they'll make sure that particular environment is hosting properly or not. Okay, fine. So you'll be sourcing like that, and the very regularly used environment variables that will be showing. Okay, so article underscore code, article underscore SID, to context underscore name. Okay, so when you say context underscore name, you'll be seeing prod underscore underscore. Okay, so therefore context underscore file. The file. Okay, so this is one of the very important file, and the key configuration file. It is something like your registry in your Windows. So you can even say assume that the Oracle database registry, it contains everything basically. So how do you maintain this? AD administration, one topic I have said is maintaining working with auto config. Okay, there we will be discussing about this particular file. As of now, this is called context file, and is the key configuration file, and you can say it's heart of the e-business suite. Okay, so yeah, the entire file system let go. If you got this particular file, the related and the other files you can recreate with this particular file. How and all we'll be discussing later. As of now, this is the context file, is the key configuration file for the database. And at the same time, the application side also you will be seeing on the same XML file that's related to the application. So two context files you would be seeing in the e-business, one for the application and another for the database. Okay, if you go for the multi-node installation, for each and every machine you would be seeing a separate context file. Okay, so here see that is the reason they separated with the machine name. They kept machine name here and put it in. Okay, so in the node 2, prod underscore node 2, prod underscore node 3, the SID would be same. If in the multi-node installation, the SID would be same. Okay, so the same prod will be across the, it won't be installing separately. Okay, the prod underscore machine name. Okay, node 1, prod underscore node 2 dot xml, prod underscore node 3 dot xml, something like that you would be seeing. All right, we will discuss. Okay, we will discuss about this XML file in detail separately. All right, okay, so okay, So these are the one regularly you'd be using. Okay, if you want to see all together, you can say env enter. You'd be seeing all your files, all your environment. Also keeping this note here. Okay, just for your information. Okay, so you can see host name is something. Okay, so host size is something, NLS lang is something, TNS underscore admin, okay, Oracle underscore SID, a library path, just a path, okay, mail, you can see something. If you see that column, you'll be seeing host name. Okay, so once if you want to know what is the base path of your particular user, you can say echo. This is the base location of your user. So this and all you can find, okay, with this, and if you know this, suppose TNS, you know only TNS, okay, so you don't know what exactly the environment variable, you know only, okay, it starts with the TNS or ends with the TNS or in between TNS or something like that is there. You want to find out what exactly, so you can say env grep TNS. This way, okay, if you don't know the exact environment variable and you know just one or two keywords or just one or two letters of that particular, okay, so you can find like this the answer. Okay, so you can even say env grep context, see, context name and context answer. This one. Okay, and it is case sensitive, as you know, it is case sensitive, and if you want to env minus I grep, no, env hyphen. So and also you can do, okay, if you don't know whether it is in caps or lowercase or uppercase, you can even try it like this. Okay, so that's what your environment, and you will be saying, okay, so you'll be connecting as CSTVA. Okay, so see 11.2, it is 11G release 2. This is 11G introduction. This is the exact version you'll be seeing. Okay, so this is what your database environment basically. Okay, so when it comes to the application environment, so here you would be logging into the same thing you would be doing basically. Okay, once you identify the consolidated environment file, you would be keeping the same thing into the Oracle, application user dash RC. Okay, so again you go to prod and go to FS1 e-business ops. So and it, okay, I'm just keeping everything, and whatever information you really wanted it, you can sort it out later. Okay, so in this location, you would be seeing, see, you would be, what are the contents of the context file? Yeah, it's a big topic, Mohit. Basically, this contains everything. Basically, okay, the context file contains everything in the sense it is in the host name, domain name, port numbers, if it comes to the database context file, if you see the database context file, you would see the host name, domain name, database port number, all right, and the DNS entries related information. Okay, so whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit, something like that you would be seeing. Okay, I can show you one sample. Okay, it's a very important file, I know. Okay, and that is the reason we made it as a separate topic. We'll be seeing how do we maintain this context file, and there is a tool also, okay, for this context file in the OAM, okay, which is called context editor. Okay, so if you want to change any variable in context file, okay, the Oracle has provided one editor also. Through editor, how do you change? Without editor, with VA editor, how do you change? Everything we would be discussing as part of autoconfig, but still I can show you for your information now. You say concat, okay, so make it more context underscore. If you see this, see, s underscore context name, okay, is a prod. Okay, this is called a variable. It's basically it's an XML file, right? So every XML, every XML will have, I mean, every line will have the tag, XML tag. So this is one of the tag context name, and that tag variable is s underscore context name is your production. Okay, CDL is 0 something. So context type of database context it is. Okay, so if you see the DBSID is a prod. Okay, lowercase prod. DB, the global ID, this is one. Global name, prod underscore Oracle underscore home. Okay, the cluster is enabled or not. Okay, false. So something like your cluster enabled or not, your port number you would be seeing, whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit, you would be seeing your character set, you would be seeing, okay, system user and the apps user you would be seeing here. Okay. Something like that, lots of the complete port range again. Okay, whether your character set, okay, it's a fresh installation or a division, your vision installation. Okay, database type it is. DB, some of the major database parameters also you would be seeing here. Okay, so much information. That's the reason, something like, by sometimes people will be asking, so boss, can you tell me how do you find your version is 32-bit or 64-bit? Okay, or how do you know where your database data, I mean, how the database global name or database port number or database port pool, means port pool or port range. Okay, or how do you know archive log location? You can, if you really know that particular information, you can say straight away, or else you can say I can get that information from context file. So because context file contains everything, you can't say no. Okay, that's I mean, you can use this context file to escape to some of the unknown stuff. I mean, unknown answers. Okay, so anyway, I mean, as I said, we'll be discussing more about this and what is this variable, what exactly the description of that particular variable, and all you can find out through context editor. Okay, we'll discuss later about that. So yeah, application side, if you see. If you see prod underscore context, prod underscore machine name dot env means context context dot env file is there, and apps context name dot env file is there. Okay, so if you go to the admin, okay, see, adors dot env file is there. Okay, so something like this, as I said, multiple environment variables will be there, and if you source, you need to source the apps context net env. I can show you what exactly this apps context net env. So it contains only reference of other context files. Okay, it doesn't contain any of the environment variable. It contains only reference basically. Okay, so if you see the other context file, the other context env file, you see, your domain name. Okay, so export and so on. So okay, this is the other one. Like this. See your product related information. So much information you will receive. Other files contain these other variables. Each one is a variable basically. NLS underscore sort is one of the variable. Path is one of the variable. Reports underscore TMP is one of the variable. Okay, the path is reports path is another variable. Okay, so your APPL, CSF, APPL log, everything you will be seeing here basically. It contains everything. It contains the complete information about your application, means the product related information basically. The other environment, if you go to the WebLogic home, you will be seeing the variables about the WebLogic server. If you go to the other, the developer, so the forms and reports environment file, that contain the related technology stack related environment variables only you will be seeing. So that is the reason for each technology there is environment, means not for forms, reports and all one file. Okay, for Apache means for web server there is one file. For your products there is one file. For customized stuff, there is one file, and to maintain all this, there is a consolidated file. Like that, Oracle has differentiated for easy maintenance and easy understanding. Okay, so as of now, what you need to do is you just need to source the apps context. Okay, so these are the same way. Either way, you can do that. Okay. So what I'll be doing is, to make it, to make my life easy. So I'll keep this one also in dash also. I said that lesson. All right. Okay. So exact location. Okay. I'll keep this. I'll keep this as well. Start. Into dash also. Or you can say, okay, just for your understanding, you can keep it in the dash profile also. Dash underscore profile also. Anything is fine. Okay, just to avoid the confusion later, if someone also wanted to do something and logged into this particular file, and he did not think like what is the shit in this file, and let us clean up this file and remove the content and all. So if you give some little description with the comment based cases, so if you give the little whoever log into this particular machine, so we'll be understanding why people have inserted this particular file or something. Okay. So sometimes, if you multiple database administrators are there, who would be keeping some, which is really, really, really important, we'll keep a note of that, before touching this particular file or before deleting this particular line, please contact so and so. My name also I'll be keeping with the phone. Okay, so it depends. Okay, so that kind of facility is also there. If you want, you can use it. It depends on the CV directory. Okay, so you added login. Now you can see. Okay, so you can see Apple Talk, you can see Common Talk, you can see Instance Talk, this is called. Okay, so you can see context name here also, you can see context underscore file. Okay, so if you want to see the database name here, then it's called to task. This database name, it would be there. It is SID, right? Oracle underscore SID. But in the application side, if you want to see the database name, you need to say to task. Okay, to underscore task. Okay, so here also you will be having Oracle. You can see Oracle home here. Okay, it's a developer Oracle home, not a web Oracle home. It is not WebLogic Oracle home. It is 10.1 Oracle home. That's a different one. Okay, so if you want to see the TNS entries, so you will have TNS or TNS underscore admin. Okay, so here, let me keep it here and I'll tell you about that. Going to the concurrent manager log and all, a little tricky basically. I will show you. See, there are 3 environment variables. Okay, so APPL, CSF, this is one variable. Okay, so APPL log is one of the variable. Okay, so APPL out is one. Okay, see, basically if you want to know, okay, so if you go to this particular location, if you say ls this one log and out on, if you say, okay, so somehow I don't know why they have made it like this. Okay, so if you want to go to the log file, concurrent manager log file, this one should attach to the log, 2 environment variables you would be using. Okay, it is something like that. Therefore, APPL CSF APPL log, APPL CSF plus this APPL CSF plus log. Okay, so therefore APPL CSF plus this one out. Okay, so this contains all the concurrent. So whenever you execute a concurrent program, there will be one ID. It will be initiating the concurrent program with one particular ID. So each and every concurrent program will have one ID, which is called a concurrent request ID. Okay, so with that ID, it would be creating a log file, and once that is done, once the concurrent program is completed successfully, it would be creating the output file. Okay, so if you want to see any error or something, if you want to see by any chance any of the concurrent program failed, and if Oracle requested you to get that particular log file, you need to come to APPL CSF, APPL log. And if you want, if end user or another one, so I'm not able to see the output file from the front end due to some reason, can you please fetch that particular file and give it to me? So we'll be coming here and we'll be searching with the request ID and we'll be sharing to you. Okay. So this is what your concurrent log and concurrent output. Little important. Every day you will be walking to this particular location. Okay. So, okay. So though everybody knows about this, so people, I mean, interviewer, though he knows that okay, still the regular, very common, regularly asked interview question it is. Okay, so just he'll make sure. Okay, every knows that it's a very important question, and people will be preparing that particular question. Still, they don't want to take a chance. That is the reason mandatory question it is. He will be asking where exactly the concurrent manager log file, where exactly the concurrent manager output file. See, basically, you never ever start any of the path with slash u01 slash app slash something like that. You have to use the environment variable. Okay, so if anybody asks you where exactly the environment file, it will be under database environment file. Where do you find? Okay, the answer should be Oracle home, RDBMS Oracle home. Okay, in the application side, if anybody asks you, the answer should be Apple top. Under Apple top, you would be seeing the environment file, something like that. You should not start telling about, okay, slash U01 slash D01 or slash some apps slash that slash this or something like that. You should not try to explain that. Okay, that's the biggest mistake the people will be doing. Mainly the people who just learn and attend the interview. Okay, so you should not tell the parts of the e-business suite anywhere. Okay, everywhere you have to use the environment variable. Make sure that. Okay, so next, let me save it. It will be creating. Saves. Okay, I'll put it. I'll put everything in a single file and I'll share it to you. So, let me see what happened to this guy. Shall I start? everything is fine. Okay, don't worry, I see later and I can show you here. Not a problem. Let me log into anyway, it will be sourced automatically as since we have put that line in dash RCR dash profile. Okay, so another one is let me fix. So, okay, so if you come to this location, okay, so you will see ADCMCTL dataset, ADL and CTL dataset for listeners. This is for content manager. This is for auto config. This is a starting. Is a consolidated startup script. Stop all datasets somewhere it will be. Okay, so to bring down the services. Okay, ADAPC CTL datasets for your Apache server means for your WebLogic server. Okay, something. You can even see the status actually. Hi Ashik. Yeah, I'll be doing that. Script details, I'll be keeping the script name and I'll be writing a line for that and all. So let's see. Yeah. If you say status and introduction, your logic is up and running or not, it will be as of now it is up and running. Okay, so something like that. So right. So that's how. Okay, whatever you are seeing here, you just log into your business suite, source the environment, and say APPL this particular env. Okay, so this particular part, if you say echo platform, echo this dollar platform, echo Apple top env. Okay, echo admin script location. This and all you can find out. Okay, so APPL DCP, APPL CDSF, APPL out, APPL out. WPL TMP, okay, temp information, instance top, identify the top level directory for this instance, NLS language, okay, so NLS date format, so this and that, okay. So there is a temp file location, APPL TMP, okay, there is one, and you have to make sure that, all the time the temp location is having enough space or not, because whenever you execute a concurrent program, whenever any of your program executed any of the any of the PLSQL related stuff, the temporary files and all would be creating under that location. Okay, so APPL TMP, that is right. Okay. So if you say APPL TMP, this is the location. Okay, so there is another context file, another environment file called adovers.env, which contains the Java related environment variables. Okay, that file contains completely Java related environment like EFJLIB, Java base, Java top, OA Java location, the location of the directory which all Java archive files are copied. Okay, so JRE top, OAH is the location, OAH underscore top is the HTML files, OAD underscore top location context sensitive. Basically, you don't need to remember each and everything here. Okay, so you don't need to by heart also. Regularly, you would be understanding, like the days goes on when you practice. You would be understanding what are the variables you would be using and what are the variables I would be using regularly. Anyway, I'm keeping in this notepad. Okay, so class path and this and that. Next, AD config test. There is a configuration file. Okay, so if you see to the Apple top admin location, we'll fix this issue later. Okay, Apple top admin location. If you go to admin location. There are so many configuration files will be there. Okay, in that ad config.txt. Okay. So view ad config.txt. Okay, if you see the ad configuration, do not edit this file manually. You should not edit. Okay. So because this is the file which has been created by autoconfig, so even if you edit this particular file, whenever you execute autoconfig, automatically this file will be replaced with a new file. Okay, so which contains complete application and related information here. Okay, so if you see. Yep. AD-config.txt stores the Oracle eBusiness Suite configuration information located under AppleTop on admin location created when eBusiness Suite have been installed and used by AD utility program. Okay, so this file automatically, whenever you execute any of the AD utility, that utility will be approaching the file and fetching some information about this particular file. Okay, again it will be created at the time of installing the Oracle Business Suite, and it will be recreated whenever you execute the auto config. So something like another environment file called fndenv file. It's located under fnd top. It sets the additional environment variable used by Oracle business. It's for AOL basically. You can call this one as a AOL inventory, AOL environment file. Okay, so this would be under fnd top. Okay, show you that. See the fnd top. You have come to the fnd top location and see fnd. Okay, so it contains AOL. These files and all, it's a human readable form. It's not electronic file. It's a normal text file. You can open the file and you can see. Okay, some of the information. You don't need to know about the complete information about this, and you will need to remember also. Okay, so if anybody by any chance, if anybody asks you FND environment, where you will be getting the FND environment file, you can say FND tab. That's it. Okay, so DEV file is another file, used to identify and describe the third party information. Okay, so automatically called, again, this particular file will be calling the FNDENV file in background. All right, okay, so we'll close the session today, and tomorrow we will be discussing about the control scripts. Okay, so as you asked Ashik, okay, what is this file name, okay, for what purpose it is, okay, this everything you will be covering in this particular thing. Okay, see, for example, ADL and CTL data sh Oracle TNS, and it's a listener file. ADCM CTL data sh it is a concurrent manager file. It's a ATF file contains a fulfillment server. This is the form server file. Okay, so somewhere it will be ADAPP CTL datasets also will be there, HTTP server. Okay, web entry. So your consolidated file will be calling all these files. Okay, and he knows that the sequence. Okay, so that and all we will be discussing tomorrow. Okay, start all data sets, stop all data sets, and how it will be starting, how it will be stopping, what is the sequence you need to follow. The step by step we will be discussing tomorrow, and we'll do a couple of health checks as well. Okay, so how do you verify whether your form server is up and running, report server is up and running, and concurrent server is up and running, login page working fine or not, database status, how do you see the everything, the whatever I'll be doing in my real time to verify if any of the server is up and running and all. And tomorrow I'll be showing, I'll make a document as well, and today notes I'll be sharing to you guys once I'm done with the class. All right, see you tomorrow in the same time. Okay. Yeah. Have a nice day. Bye bye, guys.